A familiar scene, isn't it? The exhilaration of running free, the happiness of being with friends, the thrill of challenging yourself. Remember those days? The fond memories of competition and fun? That's what we want our children to have, the same encouraging and safe environment. Occasionally, our good intentions fall prey to the quest for victory.
An Oklahoma soccer coach has been charged with second-degree battery after allegedly attacking a police officer. 32-year-old William Martin was arrested this weekend at Burns Park. North Little Rock detective Michael Gibbons was working security at a championship soccer tournament at Burns Park Sunday.
Youth soccer in particular has become a popular breeding ground for outbursts. As parents, we occasionally become too involved, neglecting the innocence of the game. We become overzealous, though we think we have our children's best interest at heart.
Sportsmanship and just having fun. These parents that are doing that, I think, are vicarious life experiences through their children.
Bradley Lindeman was released from jail Monday afternoon after he accidentally struck his wife while punching another parent during a weekend soccer game at the soccer complex. Some coaches we talked with Monday afternoon think that negative involvement by parents ruins the experience for kids.
You want to get your children involved, but when you actually get physically involved and lose control, then you're taking a lot away from the game and a lot away from the kids.
We forget that actions speak louder than silence or praise. Without cause, we scold the referee for a game call. Often we instruct from the sideline, even though the team has a trained coach. We want our children to have the best. We want them to succeed. We want to win. Referee intimidation has become a worldwide soccer phenomenon. Many young and inexperienced referees are turning in their whistles after being bullied, criticized, or even physically abused by fans, parents, and coaches. In addition to losing referees, we inadvertently affect the players. Feelings of embarrassment and self-doubt surface with every sideline outburst heard. The environment becomes charged and competition fierce. As a parent, I'm concerned. Like the old adage says, we learn by example. With the slightest comment or action, we direct the atmosphere of the game. It's up to us as adults to take control and set a positive example.
As far as parents' behavior on the sidelines, a lot of times I know when it usually starts with one or two parents, and they just start and they start pacing, and some of them that's just their general behavior. They can't sit, they're anxious, and I call that enthusiasm. So thank you for your enthusiasm. But they start to go, and then they get boisterous, and then it filters down. Attitudes are contagious, and some people's are just not worth catching.
Being critical of referees has become somewhat of a social norm. This attitude can be pinpointed as one of the many reasons youth soccer loses so many young officials each year. Change needs to be initiated. At the forefront of this movement is a much-needed modification of behavior.
You watch, you can't even see!
Good job!
Come on, ref, both ways!
It's very difficult when you have a tough crowd who is yelling and screaming and arguing with every call. It's difficult to keep your head in the game and really ignore what they're saying. Every now and then you'll get a fan that you can hear them 3 fields down arguing with the calls. You lose your concentration if they're standing right behind you, especially on the line. Offsides especially is hard enough to call as it is, but when they're sitting there yelling and screaming at you about every offsides, every close play, you tend, especially for younger referees, you tend to lose confidence in your game.
Good job, ref! Way to screw it up! Way to screw this game up, ref! Good job! What about that one? Hey, it goes both ways, sir! Come on!
Some things that parents say to child referees when they are reffing, saying things like, hey, you're too young, hey, you don't belong out there, we don't think you're fast enough, you can't keep up with play. Those things can really ruin a child's psyche on the field. I mean, not only in that moment, but you know, their next game, they think, oh, these parents didn't like me, you know, maybe they're right, maybe they, you know, maybe they have a point and I'm not going to go out there.
Call it both ways! Come on! You're missing all the yellow ones!
These children need support, especially from their parents. They get the supports from their peers, they get the support from their coaches. The coaches come up after the game saying, hey, you did a good job.
I think one of the biggest reasons why we're losing a lot of young referees in the first 2 or 3 years that the referees, they're young, they're say 15, 14 years old, and they don't know that the parents are giving them a hard way to go and that it's just a game.
That's obstruction! That's obstruction! Go to the ground, Bart, then you'll get the call!
And the parents treat it as more than a game. They treat it, if we lose, it's the end of the world. And we got to remember that this is not the professionals. This is youth soccer.
You're killing us! Blue ball! Let's go! Blue ball, come on. That's all right. Hey, that's all right, Quay. Get him. Use your skills. Use your skills, Quay. Use your skills. Head in the game.
The way to keep young referees is to be polite. Pretend that's your kid. Pretend your kid's not playing. Pretend your kid's the referee. They're out there trying to do something they love. They're trying to look sharp. You look at them, they're cute little uniforms, and you know, they're getting out there trying to do their best job. And you know, no one goes out and goes, I think I'll try to screw up this team today. I think I'll make some lousy calls. There's no one out there like that.
That's a great shove from behind, sir! Come on, call it!
You know, there's no one out there trying to cheat. They're trying to do their best job. If they blow a call, they blow a call. If they blow a couple calls, you know?
Oh, come on! That is general.
What needs to be said to help slow the process of losing the referees is, you know, for the parents, instead of saying, hey, you missed that, or you know, what are you watching the same game we are, or just not paying attention to the game, either just sit back and watch the game, or encourage your players. Don't acknowledge the referees. Or if you have a problem, say, hey, you know, you might have missed it, but that's all right. You know, just get the next one. Positivity is the best thing right now. There's too much negativity.
The basis of many comments stems from a lack of education in the rules of the game. Calls such as offsides or handball attract much attention, while alleged dangerous plays spark enormous controversy.
Unfortunately, parents have a tendency to say things that are incorrect. They shout things on the field that necessarily don't go along with the rule book. They need to learn the rule book. They may know the basic rules, but I'm sure a lot of them don't know a lot of the finer points.
No, I do not think the parents know enough about the rules. They always scream to the refs, read the rule book, but I really don't think the parents know the rules.
The ball played her, sir. Come on. You know these rules. It's taller. Don't let Red call the game for you.
When my dad talks, he knows pretty much what he's talking about. But when my mom talks, she pretty much doesn't know what she's talking about.
You're not going to get it all the way to the net. Hit it!
I think that she needs to learn more about the game before she starts yelling and talking about the game.
I do not feel that parents know enough about the game because some parents haven't even played soccer before. They think they know from what they hear from us, but some people just think that they know everything and they really don't. They never actually went to all our practices and learned everything we've learned through the years we've played soccer.
I think many problems come because parents don't know the rules of the game, especially in offsides. I'll make an offsides call and all the parents will go crazy, and part of them don't even know that it's when the ball's kicked, and they think just because their daughter was there or their team was there that they're onside, and that's how it has to be.
Offside!
Oh, wow, way offside.
Back! Man on. Handball!
Oh my gosh!
I don't think they really know the rules of the game. I think if they would just learn about it, or maybe if they were to go to practices, but if they were to just listen, or if ask them about the game and the rules, I think they would really understand why and how the referee's calling all these calls. I think it would help a lot.
Though many problems derive from the game itself, a common link begins outside the field. After a hectic day, adults continue to have trouble checking their emotional baggage at the door.
When parents have a bad day at work or a bad day anywhere else, they definitely bring it to the game. They yell so loud and they just take it all out on not exactly their kids, but just on their team.
Wake up out there. Here it comes again. Let's go. Let's go. We're on offense. Let's play. Oh, come on.
When someone makes a bad trap or they think the ref makes a bad call, they just go crazy on them just because they had a bad day.
I have experience of seeing parents interrelate with their kids, and I think a lot of times they take what either happens at home or at work. You know, they show up at the field in their tie, or you know, they've been following 3 kids around and trying to get them to the fields, and here they sit, you know, and all of a sudden, I mean, something just happens. I'm serious. It's just like they lose it.
Come on, you got to talk that, Justin! Come on, get to it! It's time to play!
Oh yeah, I think the parents do bring like their problems of the day to a soccer game, and then because you know they're already stressed out, they're already mad at something, so they just get mad at someone else, something else, like a referee or a player or a coach.
They have had this bad day all day, and then they want to take it out on someone, and they can either take it out on their kids, the coach, or even the referees.
And I'm telling you, you will be gone from this field. I'll guarantee it, and I'm in position to do it.
They don't believe they're doing their job right when maybe they didn't do their job right at work. They got yelled at, so they think they should get yelled at.
As I was reffing in one game, a guy got really mad for not calling a handball in the game, and I think if this guy had settled down and relaxed about this game, I think it would have been a lot easier for me to ref, because I got kind of like afraid from that guy afterwards. Like, I kept reffing because I didn't want to call anything bad or wrong towards him.
Coaching players from the sideline proves to be one of the hottest topics on the field. Kids become confused with the onslaught of opinions and wonder, who should I listen to? My parents, coach, or the fans?
I don't like sideline coaching, like someone's dad coaching their son from the sideline. It's horrible. One of my best friends was on my team, and his dad always screamed at him to do something different than what my coach was saying, and it was horrible. He didn't know what to do, and he got really confused, and it was just a mess.
Yes, I do think parents try to coach their kids from the sidelines or even the team because they think they can see the whole field, so they know exactly who's open and what you're doing wrong because they're watching it from a different angle than you are.
I've talked to players who say they just can't play when their parents are there because they yell so much and it just brings them down.
Push up! Oh, girls, come on! Stay on it, stay on it. Why does everyone play okay.
Go to the ball!
It's kind of hard for myself as a referee to focus on the game when you got parents going back and forth against each other and then yelling at their kids, especially when they do have a qualified coach that's teaching them one way and their parents are telling them to do another way. It's very difficult sometimes.
Get there. Keep it outside here. Pressure, Johnny, pressure. Keep it outside. Target.
As a player, when parents try to coach me on the field, We are only supposed to listen to our coach. You know, our coach tells us not to listen to our parents, and they just want you to do what they think is best, and you have to play as a team and all together. And if each girl is listening to her parents, then it's just not going to work out very well, and everything's just going to go downhill. And as a ref, I can't stand when parents are on the side trying to teach their daughter what to do. They have a coach for that, and they just need to listen to their coach.
If growing pains are not enough to make a youngster feel out of place, embarrassment can feel like the end of their world. Humiliation can turn the most focused player into a disoriented child.
Get him off him! Come on!
Why don't you call that whistle?
Those are the kids' parents out there, and if they're yelling and screaming, the kids get embarrassed about it, and I've had players turn around and, you know, Dad, would you just shut up, please?
Well, you screw up the game!
Scott, shut up! Shut up, CFC! Hey, CFC, play your game! Play your game!
I have been embarrassed once by my mom when I was about 10 or 11. I was on this team that I didn't get a lot of playing time because they had their favorites. And my mom, after the game, went and cussed out the coach, and it was really bad. And I felt really dumb because I really didn't have anything to do with it, and my mom took over.
Yeah! No! Oh, why don't you just give them the game? Jeez!
Have I ever been embarrassed from a parent on the sideline? Well, yes, I have. From my mom. She keeps yelling out stuff, and most of the time she doesn't even know what she's talking about. So I just try to block that out of my mind when she's yelling it. But when my dad yells something, it's like just hustle, Jordan, or keep running, or dig, or something. I can listen to that, and I'll take that, but I won't take in what my mom says because it just distracts me.
Sometimes my dad can get pretty loud at like a call or so.
Talk to him again. Talk to him 3 times. He wasn't going for the ball at all.
I try not to think about it, and then when I keep running down the field, and then I hear like the ref whistle, and then I figured that he got my dad in trouble. But if he finds a couple calls that he doesn't think it's right, he'll start yelling, and I think it stops the game. And sometimes it embarrasses me, like knowing that's my dad out there.
Clearly, a parent can influence their child's mindset. In an already chaotic game, players are on the defense, ready for battle. With a simple gesture or word, adults can fuel the fire, adding intensity.
Come on, Jack! He didn't push you off! Extended arm or not! He's not calling it, he's not calling it either way!
It's a little bit different when you hear your dad yelling at you to go get this kid and to beat him, and to do that. You're almost willing to do whatever it takes to beat a player, and sometimes you're taking it a little too far, and it can really change and influence the way the game's being played, and it can go from a really normal type game to a game that quickly becomes out of control just by the way a parent acts.
When the parents act up, it affects the play of the game, and the fact that the parents don't realize that the least little bitty thing that's said is, hey, you know, don't let them push you off the ball, or get them next time. Well, the player starts thinking about that, and then as a result, I've found out that better than 60% of the time that player commits a foul within the next 2 minutes or the next time they come near somebody, because the parent has said, don't let them do that to you, so they don't want to let them do it, and they'll push them.
When parents start yelling, you might be on a total different part of the field, so you don't even know what they're yelling at. It might have been like a little shove on the other side of the field, so you're turning your head to see what's happening over there, and then the ball might be by you and you won't even notice it because you're so worried about what the parents are yelling about over there, and you might not even be anywhere near them.
You got him! Oh, he's got it in the box! You guys got his jersey! How can you not see that right there? Even I can see him holding his shirt by the sleeve. I didn't think it was a new rule. Good job. Oh, man, nice job. Oh, shit. Gotta play. That's true. Good job, man. Good job. Hey, Mark. Good job. Oh, come
it would get me down a lot. If my mom started screaming, if I played on the field, I'd just be like, Mom, can you please be quiet? And if she didn't, then I'd just, I guess, get mad, and then I would ask to be subbed off and not play, and just be like, Mom, see, I won't play if you scream at me.
The same thought surfaces time and time again. In the wake of abuse and harassment, who will officiate?
That's a goal kick. No way!
Becky is mad.
Oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding!
I've repped a few games. I've been on the sideline as a linesman, and people talk to me. So sometimes it's not as bad, sometimes it's really bad. Like they'll yell and say that, you know, bad things like, you know, are you blind? Can you see that? There's things like that. And yeah, if it happened to me consistently, I wouldn't referee anymore either.
When parents yell things, I get very embarrassed because I don't know if my call was right or wrong, and I don't think it should really matter, but they should just let us play the game, and what I call it should be the final call. And I get very discouraged, like if I call it for red and they yell it's all blue, and I don't know if I was right, and I just think they should need to be quiet and just play the game.
Come on, ref, both ways, let's go!
I know how it's being a ref. If they keep yelling at you and you get like discouraged, you're not going to want to keep on reffing because you get discouraged and you don't really, you wonder why the fans and the coaches have to yell at you, because you know what, you made your call and you think that's right, and if you didn't think it was right, you wouldn't make the call.
I think a lot of refs quit because of parents on the sidelines and coaches, because they get really mean and obnoxious, and they say like, you stink and all this other stuff, and they tell them to get glasses and get off the field, and I just think it's really bad. Like, I would never want to be a ref.
A few simple measures can be taken to reverse the hostility that finds its way onto the field.
What would make soccer more fun for me is if the parents, even of opposite teams, got along at the games and maybe all sat together and then they cheered on for both teams, and it wasn't, I know there's going to be some competition, but maybe just at the games there wasn't, but at tournaments there was competition. So at the games it would just be like fun scrimmage, and it didn't really matter who won.
Well, I think we convince more referees to stay with the game by like asking the parents and fans to settle down on the sidelines, as well with the coaches.
I think if everyone would just sit down and relax about the game and let the game keep flowing, I think the game would be a lot easier to play.
As a ref, the game of soccer would be more fun if the parents weren't so concerned about what I was doing on the field, but what their players were doing on the field, and they give their players more support about how they're playing, and they just pay attention to the game and just have fun.
If you were a parent, I would just tell you to be quiet during the game and let the kids play, and they would play so much better, and it would just make it a lot more fun. And in the long run, there would be a lot more kids playing soccer and a lot more refs reffing, and it would just make the whole program better.
At the end of the day, the message remains the same. From being supportive and respecting individuals to being even-tempered on the sideline, it's the words we speak and the way we present ourselves. We influence the game and the way it's played. We set the example. Attitude is contagious, so let's make it a positive one.
My mom actually doesn't usually yell at me, because if she does, I just tell her to be quiet because she has no reason to tell me what to do, because I'm playing the sport, and I don't think she knows how it feels to be out on the field. And
if they were more educated in the game, then they probably wouldn't yell out most of the stuff they yell, and so it might give the kids a better chance to do better in their game.
They're already stressed out, they're already mad at something, so they just get mad at someone else, something else, like a referee or a player or a coach when out on the field.
When you got parents going back and forth against each other and then yelling at their kids, especially when they do have a qualified coach that's teaching them one way and their parents are telling them to do another way.
You know, when I leave the field, I think, I'm sorry that team has to listen to that day in and day out. I'm sorry they have to go home with those parents. I really am. I mean, that's harsh to say, but the reality is they're going home to that environment, and you know, does anyone really need to hear that? No.
If the parents or fans, if they don't have anything good to say, then don't say anything.
As my mom being a coach and a parent, I'm more comfortable with her being a coach because she's on the other side and she knows what she's going to say. And she knows if she says something bad that it could affect her whole team.
And I call that enthusiasm, so thank you for your enthusiasm. But they start to go and then they get boisterous, and then it filters down. You know, attitudes are contagious, and some people are just not worth catching.